Yes friends, now let us see that cohesion. Okay, cohesion is also a terminology having some different meaning. Okay, most of we guys is going to get confused between these two, that is cohesion and coupling keywords. Not keywords, terminologies. Okay, observe here, what is that cohesion? Let me put some small piece of code and let us understand about this cohesion. Okay, now observe. Cohesion means it always represents a well focused, otherwise a well particular functionality. Functionality means what? A method implementation or else a behavior of a method. Specifically, we are going to represent only a method implementation. Okay, observe here, a method implementation. What is this? Let me put the definition. What does it represent? A well focused particular functionality. Getting functionality. What does this functionality means? Method implementation. Okay, method implementation, guys. Okay, now observe, I'm going to write one small piece of code. Okay, observe this part carefully. Okay, now class bank account. Okay, bank account. Within this bank account, one of my customer wants to do transaction. Getting to do a transaction, what we require? We should add the payee, guys. Payee means what? A beneficiary person. Getting a beneficiary person. Okay, one customer wants to do transaction, he wants to do money transfer. Okay, and first he should add the payee. Getting now later he wants to do transfer money. Okay, let it be till here. Add payee enough to understand, not to go much. Okay, observe here. So first, to do transaction, my customer wants to log in. Getting, I should do authentication. I want to check whether that user is available in my bank. Let it be bank. Let me change the class name to bank MAR. Okay, MAR. Let it be some bank is available. Now, so first there should be login verification. Getting login verification. Okay, so this login details, they want to store a particular customer username and password within their database. So whenever user puts his username and password, we have to retrieve what? We have to check whether that user is available as a customer in my bank. Getting, so I want to do some database data, that is data retrieving operations. I want to retrieve some data, friends. Okay, now so to do that, I'm going to use what? Database related code. Okay, later I'll do all of these things. Okay, now observe, I'm going to take one method. Okay, I'm going to take one method. Observe here, I will change, I will optimize, I will customize the code step by step. That gives cohesion. Okay, observe here, what is cohesion means? Observe, it is a well focused particular functionality. Getting, it's a well focused functionality. Otherwise it can be spelled as what? Well defined functionality. Getting, functionality of a Java element. Okay, of a Java element. That can be a class, or that can be an abstract class, or it can be, that's it, no interface. Okay, getting, now observe, what is this? well focused particular functionality. What does functionality represents here? Method implementation. Whatever the logic we are going to write, that will contribute, that will be the functionality. Okay, now observe here. Now just take one method called public void do all. Getting do all. Now observe here what I am going to do. First I will perform logic, that is logic related to login. Getting login logic. To perform this, I want to retrieve what? I want to access the data which is related to a particular customer. Getting customer login logic. Later I want to perform database related operations. Okay, let it be database related operations. Getting now coming to other thing, and payee. Getting he wants to do transaction, so this transaction is depending which operation, I mean this transaction having one dependency. What is that? He should add the beneficiary person account number. Okay, so we have to perform the logic related to what? Add payee. Getting adding a beneficiary, friends. Okay, adding beneficiary. Coming to the fourth one, what is that? Do transaction, transfer the money from payer to the payee. Okay, so do transaction. Getting do transaction. Getting now observe here this login logic is having some 100 lines of code. This database related is having some 25 lines of code, and this one is having some like 200 lines of code. Okay, having some 200 lines of code, and this one is having some 75 lines of code. Let it be 175. Okay, now altogether how many lines of code I'm maintaining within a method? Observe, within a method. Observe here, this is what? 200, 400, 500 lines of code I'm maintaining within a single method. Okay, within a single method. Getting within a single method. Okay, now to access login logic, what I have to do? I have to access this method. Unnecessarily this entire logic remaining 400 lines of code is getting executed. Where is? Observe here, well focused particular functionality. Getting is not executing here. Irrelevant code is also executing. Observe here, well defined functionality of a Java element. Getting of a class. Of course we don't have here well defined functionality, that is method implementation within a method. Okay, you are maintaining login logic, database related logic, other one is what? Add payee logic, and doing transaction logic within a single method. Getting it is not at all having well defined functionality. Let me optimize this code. Okay, let me optimize this code. Let me optimize this code. Let me optimize this code to some other extent. Okay, let me optimize that to some extent. Observe here, let it be class bank of MAR. Okay, now instead of maintaining all this logic, please maintain this logic, that is login logic, database related operation, add payee logic, that is beneficiary adding logic, and do transaction logic within separate method. This is what? First optimizing. Okay, first optimizing. Let it be, what is that? Public void do all. Okay, public void do all. We'll do later. I'll write some implementation within this method later. Okay, now let us take public. Let me take a method called public void login. Okay, it's having some lots of implementation related to logic. Okay, and let me take one more method, public void. What is that? db logic. Okay, db logic. Of course I am not maintaining the conventions for names. Okay, observe. Now this method is having logic related to database. And take one more method, public void add payee. Add payee, and this one is also having that logic. Here how many lines of code will be available within this login logic? Altogether 100 lines of code. Okay, observe here, 100 lines of code. And this one is containing how many lines of code? db logic 25 lines of code. Okay, let it be. Okay, what is this? 25 lines. Okay, it is containing 25 lines of code. Coming to add payee, how many lines of code? 200 lines of code. Okay, now observe, 200 lines of code. Coming to the other logic, coming to the other, what is that? Public void do transact. Do transact. Now here observe, here you are maintaining do transact logic separately. Let it be transact or transaction. Here let it be the lines of code as what? 175 lines of code. Okay, now and the class scope, this is a class scope. Okay, now call these methods. This is what? One method having only login logic. Now call this, what is this? Method related to db logic. Okay, and this is what? Other method having logic related to payee, and this is a method having related to transaction. Okay, now if you want to logic related to login, call this method. Okay, just to call login. Okay, just to call login. Okay, now if you want db related thing, call db. Okay, before after login call db hyphen logic. Okay, and then call other one as what? Add hyphen payee. And coming to the other one, do hyphen transact. Getting friends? Transact. Now observe here, if I want only login logic, getting, I can do maintain like this, right? Unnecessarily db logic, add payee logic, do transact logic is executing. I mean, is that entire code is executing here? No, only login logic. If I don't want login logic, observe here, we are having the requirement that I want to use only db logic. Okay, db logic, comment all of these things. Now db logic only executes, unnecessary piece of code not executing. Observe here, if I want only login, I can just put only login, no other methods. Okay, if I want only db, I can use db. Now observe here, a little cohesion, that is well defined functionality we have achieved. Getting, login is login logic available within login method. Getting, functionality implementation is available here. Now let me optimize this code to some other extent. Okay, observe here. Okay, let me optimize this to some other extent. Observe here, to improve the modularity. Getting, now observe here, of course you can maintain the code in this way, no issues, but to improve readability, to improve modularity, it is highly recommended to maintain separate that is individual classes for different or unique functionalities. This is related to login logic, this is related to DB logic, this is related to add payee logic, this is related to do transact logic. So it is highly recommended to maintain different logics in unique classes. Okay, now observe here, let us optimize this one to some other extent. Okay, now observe here. Okay, let it be class bank hyphen MAR. Okay, let it be here you are having some functionality. I will write that functionality, that is methods later. Okay, now observe. Now take class called class authentication, getting authentication. Now within this class simply maintain this login logic. Okay, public void login. Okay, public void login having logic, that is it is containing 100 lines of code. Okay, now a different class, unique class for authentication. Okay, now observe and observe. Let me create one more class connection, getting class connection hyphen DB, connection of DB. Now within this class maintain this logic. Okay, what is that? DB logic method. Okay, what is that, friends? Public void DB hyphen logic. Now here let it be some lines of codes we are having. Okay, how many lines of code? 25 lines, only just 25 lines. Okay, now let me maintain this one here, 25 lines of code. Okay, now end this class scope. Okay, end this class scope, let it be as this one. Okay, now observe this part. Let me maintain other class for add payee. Okay, let it be class beneficiary, getting beneficiary. Okay, now within this class add that method public void add hyphen payee. Okay, now here you are having that implementation, it is containing 200 lines of code, not 200 lines of code, even much also will be available. Just for example I have considered. Now let me take one more class to maintain this logic. Why? At our Java it is highly recommended to maintain unique functionalities or behaviors in a unique class. Now this is unique, this is talking about transaction, this is talking about payee, adding beneficiary, it is talking about database. Each and everything talks about different sectors, different what is that, modules. Getting, it is related to database, it is related to adding beneficiary person. This adding beneficiary person can be present at some other bank, there you will be having lots of code. Okay, so it is highly recommended to maintain unique logics within different classes. Okay, that's why we are writing here. So now let me take one more class as what? Class what is that? Transaction. Getting, let it be transaction. Within this class put that method public void do hyphen transact. Okay, now within this method maintain that logic, that is how many lines of code? 175 lines of code. Observe here, observe these ones. Okay, now I maintained different logics in different classes. Observe, well defined functionality of a Java element, otherwise well focused particular functionality of a class or an abstract class. Here I have taken only concrete classes, just classes. Okay, so this is called as cohesion. Getting cohesion, this is called as cohesion. First, what we have done here, I have maintained the logic within a single method. Getting, it doesn't look good. Otherwise, it is whenever I want only login logic, if I call this method, what happens? Unnecessarily DB related operations logic and add payee beneficiary logic, other one do transaction logic is executing unnecessarily. Getting, so and also it is not recommended to maintain such type of logics. Okay, now come, I am going to optimize this one. Getting, so come to first optimization. What we have done, login logic I maintained in separate method, and DB logic I maintained in separate method called DB logic, and login logic maintained within a method called login method. Now coming to other one, adding a beneficiary, I added that logic within add payee method. Now coming to the other one, doing transaction, that logic I have maintained within other method. What is that method? What is that? Do transact. Okay, it is containing some lines of code like 175. Still it's not looking good. Why? In our Java it is highly recommended to maintain different logics or different functionalities, getting within a different classes, within unique classes. Okay, now that's why I'm going to optimize this one. Still bank MER is there, wait, we will do. Okay, now bank MER is there, still I didn't do implementation within this class, will do. Okay, now what is this class? Authentication is containing login method logic, and this connection DB containing what? This DB logic method, and class beneficiary is having add payee logic method logic, and do transact method logic available within class called transaction. Okay, now observe, bank MER is having one, of course one of my customer has come, he wants to check whether he is able to log in or not. Okay, now what I want to do, public static void main. Okay, now I just create object for authentication. What is that? Authentication A equals to new authentication. Okay, now A dot login, that's it, finished. Getting, now unnecessarily this code is not executing. Now that person wants to do only, what is that? After login he wants to do just adding payee. I'm going to call which object method? Beneficiary object method. Let it be new beneficiary, dot, what is that? Add payee. Getting, friends, add payee. Unnecessarily this code will not get executed. Of course internally if you want connection related code, that you can use, that depends upon the logic. But observe here, I maintained different functionalities within unique classes. Getting, that is what? Cohesion. Yes mister, because of that one, what is the advantage? Number one, observe here. Okay, number one, observe here, I want to change the logic only within the login module. Okay, now which piece of source code I want to open? I want to open this one or this one or this one or this one, only this. I want to open only this dot Java file. I am going to perform the modifications. Am I disturbing this module? No. Am I disturbing this module? No. Am I disturbing this one? No. No module is getting disturbed. So maintenance will be very good. Observe here. Okay. Maintenance will be easy. Getting will be very simple. Now coming to the other one. Now I want to change login logic, or of course let it be DB logic. I want to shift from one database to other database, switching from one database to other database. We can achieve even that one also. Now which dot class, which dot java file I want to open, this one or this one, or this dot java file, this dot java file. Now think that from 25 lines of code it has been changed to 100 lines of code. Getting 100 lines of code. Here lots of names has been changed. Getting, of course you have to change the names. Getting, now am I required to change those names within this DB related thing that I am accessing here, DB related method. Okay, now am I required to change this method name here, new connection DB. Okay, observe here friends. Okay, constructor. Okay, am I required to change the name here? This method name and this method name is same. Within this method you are recommended to change the names of what? Classes, methods. You are not recommended to change here at exact code. Getting, so enhancements will be very simple. Getting, very simple. And here if you are using any other class methods, you can do those things. Getting, DB related logic. If you want to add the payee, which is a beneficiary person available at some other bank, so you can change the bank names, all of these things within this code. Getting, you can open only this source code, you can change the source code. So I'm here not at all recommend to change the method name. Simple thing. Enhancements are what? Enhancement will be simple or easy. Getting, and now what's the other thing? Observe here. Now I want to use at the time of transaction DB code, that is data, not DB code, at the time of transaction. Getting, at the time of transaction I want to use login verifications, that is transaction logic. Getting, transaction login logic I want to do here. For that I want to use this login. Once again I want to use this login. First of all, to check, to enter into the bank, we are using what? First once login. Now can I use this instance, this object within this transaction module? Yes, you can use. And can we use this login method there? Yes, you can do use. So code reusability is there or not? Yes. If there is any modifications, that will be done only here. You are just using the what? The high level names, not the internal dependent name. So code reusability will be dead simple to us. If there is any problems, you can trace them very simple, in a very simple way we can trace them. So what is the advantage? Other one, code reusability will be simple to us. Okay, will be simple to us. Okay, so here you can create a new authentication constructor dot, what is that? Login. Okay, anonymous object, I am using login. Okay, think that some logic is available here. The main moral thing which we have learned, what is cohesion? Don't get confused with coupling. Coupling is different. Here you will have the dependency. Getting, we are not talking about dependency here. We are talking about a specific functionality. Just think about this one, then you will get a clear picture and you will come to know what we have to do. Okay, so what we have discussed, cohesion means what? It is a well defined behavior or a particular functionality of a Java element. That can be a class or abstract class. A well focused particular functionality of a Java element. That element can be a class or abstract class. Okay, now observe here. Think that we are having a class called bank.MER. Within that class we are having one method called do/or. Okay, now within that method I maintained login logic and I maintained database related logic and I maintained even add payee logic also, and I even maintained do transaction logic also. Getting? Now if I want only login logic, if I want to execute only 100 lines of code, 1 to 100th line I want to execute, here if I do maintain the code, definitely unnecessarily remaining 400 lines of code will execute, which is unnecessary action. Getting? So let us optimize this one to some extent. Okay, what is that? Observe, watch it properly. Okay, so I have taken the same class called bank.MER. Now what I am doing here, I maintain that do all method as it is. Now I have written login logic in a separate method, user defined method. What is that? Login. Here I maintain that 100 lines of code. And coming to the other one, what is that? This DB logic, DB related, that is database related object, logic, I maintained within which one? Other user defined a method. What is that? DB logic method. Okay, now coming to the other, what is this? Other remaining 200 lines of code related to add pay, that is adding a beneficiary person who is available at other bank. Getting? Now or else within that bank itself. Okay, now I'm just showing the overview, guys. Okay, I'm not talking about internal things, understand? Okay, now add payee logic also I have implemented, I have added within what? Other method, that is add payee. Getting? Add payee is user defined method containing that 200 lines of logic. Okay, not only 200 lines of code, it will contain any number of lines of code. Okay, now and transaction, do transaction logic maintain within other method, do transact. Now of course it is looking good, this class has been optimized to some extent in good way, but according to our Java, each and every different functionalities must be maintained in unique classes, separate classes must be there. Okay, so that readability will be improved. Getting? Readability will be improved and modularity will be improved. So if I separate this login logic, DB logic and add payee logic, other one is what? Do transact lines of code in different classes, modularity I am improving. Other one, the time taken to develop this code will be very less. I can assign this code to one team, and this can be assigned to team 1, this can be assigned to team 2, this can be assigned to team 3. Getting? So like that, this can be assigned to team 4. Concurrently I can speed up my development of application. So here you improve the modularity. Getting? You improve the what? Functionality of a particular element. Getting? Well defined functionality is there to this one. Of course, internally it will have some dependencies. We are talking about cohesion here, not coupling. Coupling represents a degree of dependency. Okay, so observe here. So now this bank MA or is within this bank, one of the customer has come. He wants to log in. He wants to check whether I can log in or not. Now observe here, he wants to log in means we can create authentication object, and on that object reference I can call what? Login method. Observe here. Here if a customer wants to do login, what is happening? Unwantedly this remaining three logics of code is this remaining lines of code is executing. Unnecessary action you are performing. Getting? So now here only login module code is executing. Well defined functionality is there within this method, and because of improving the readability and to achieve what is that, according to the Java, unique logic must be maintained in unique classes. Okay, so that's why I maintained each and every method within separate classes. Okay, now only this logic is loading. Okay, now I want to perform add payee. I want to add a particular beneficiary in my account. What I have to do here? I am going to create beneficiary object and that call payee. Now it is having some related to database actions. Now call this method by creating object. So you are using module by module. Getting? Module by module. Think that one of the module is having only DB related logic. It wants only DB related logic. Now what we can do? You can just create DB logic, DB, that is connection DB class object, and that you can call DB hyphen logic. Okay, now that is what our transaction requires some authentication. So here of course I did mistake. Okay, of course to do login authentication, think that you require DB connection, that is connection hyphen DB hyphen logic. Okay, DB hyphen logic also we require. Okay, now I'm using separately what is that authentication logic, and I'm using what is that DB related, that is database related logic separately. So modularity is there, well defined functionality is there. Getting? Everything is fine. Now what is the big advantage of this one? Means simple thing, maintenance will be very simple. Getting? If you want to change any of the codes internal implementation, you can change them, no issues. Only this methods logic will be getting changed. So what is going to be very easy to us? Enhancements will be very easy. Now here maintenance, if you change any code or any class name, simply you can change the constructor names, than that nothing. Okay, it will be very simple. If there is any bugs or if there is any troubles or what is that errors, you can trace them a very simple way. Getting? No need to trace the entire piece of code. Think that your DB is giving some errors. Here you have to trace entire piece of code. Here you can trace only DB related logic. Okay, now other one is what? Code reusability will be very simple. You can reuse the code in a simple way without any issues, that is without any troubles. Okay, this is what our cohesion, and there will be a sure bit to our SEJP or OCJP exam.